Hey, Shalom, Malcolm, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that's still teaching this truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with the 144,000 all the way down to the large multitude that believes and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back today with another quick lesson, and I pray this lesson will be edifying to the elect. And I want to do a lesson, just doubling back on how Esau Edom is moving quicker, all right, with this beast system and the establishment of this this cashless society, and the fact of how you had the UK, come out and state that they're mandatorily going to be pushing forth the digital ID, which that's just one step closer to the Motb. That's not the mark of the beast, but it's one step closer to the mark of the beast. Now you have Switzerland that's also, following the helms, if you will, of the UK. And a lot of these various different nations are on board, and we've been saying this beginning with the apostles on down, all right, that this is going to be something that's going to be pushed worldwide. But once again, this is just the gradualism leading up to the mandatory implementation of the RFID microchip. And you have this dude, Prince of the Power, as he calls himself, over here talking about, well, where's GMS saying that, where's GMS at? I mean, I don't know if you've been living underneath a rock for the past, I don't know if you've been living underneath a rock for the past, 20 years, but, this has been information and news that has been coming out, all right, beginning with the Elder Apostle Tahar, really, on down. There's been constant videos going out about how this beast system is moving quicker, and lo and behold, here's another article proving that these various different nations are all in league. It says, first the UK, now Switzerland embraces digital ID as the beast system is falling into place. Okay? Remember the scripture says, and at the end it shall speak and not lie. So why these dudes is worried about GMS, what GMS is going to say? Well, what's GMS going to say about it? Well, what's GMS got to say about it? We've been telling you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. We've been letting you know what it is, man. Why y'all sitting here worried about us? Well, what's GMS going to say about it? Y'all better go to y'all better, like it says, the parable of the 10 virgins, won't, 5 are wise and 5 are wise and 5 are foolish. You better go to the sellers and buy now. This is Habakkuk 2 and 3. It says, for the vision or the prophecy is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Okay, now it's speaking, it's not lying. Okay, you have people that were scoffing about the Motb. You have people, camps like the IUIC, the Bishop Nathaniel. Well, maybe your dog can get you some lamb. Just scoffing. But now it's here. Okay, and it's clear as day. All right, what they getting ready to do? It's clear as day. All right, all they really just need is the perfect. All they really just need is the perfect crisis, all right, for them to enact their plans. Okay? Just give me 1 second. All right, Salaki about that. Let me go back to the scripture. This is Habakkuk 2 and 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. All right? Because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And it's definitely not tarrying in these last days, man. Okay, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rachakwadash is making known, all right, who his prophets are. Okay? And once again, while people scoffing and, trying to make, counter videos, this thing is happening whether you like it or not, or whether you believe it or not. Okay, now Switzerland, is not it has a NATO, or I keep saying NATO. Switzerland has a partnership of peace with NATO, but they're not like a NATO nation. And Switzerland is surrounded by, EU nations, but they're not a part of the EU. But once again, this is going to be a worldwide thing. Okay, this is going to be something that's going to be pushed throughout the four corners of the world. That's why the scriptures call it, you know, when I say this thing, what I'm talking about is the mark of the beast. All right, the mandatory implementation of the RFID microchip. All right, and that's why the scripture says in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, all right, that it says that it shall come upon the world, the hour of temptation shall come upon the world, for lack of better word. Somebody want to put the scripture up, Revelation 3 and 10. But that word world, when you get it in the Greek, all right, is oikonomene, which means the whole, like pretty much the whole inhabited world. Okay, and these various different nations are getting set in place to push it out, to roll it out. This is just one step closer. It says, in a closely contested referendum, Switzerland has forged ahead with a groundbreaking digital identification system that prioritizes users' privacy, setting it apart from more intrusive models being pursued by the European Union and the United Kingdom. It says this development in the European Union, all right, and the United Kingdom, all right, as well as America and these various different NATO nations it's all a part of the beast system. All right, remember, America is the whore that rides upon the beast. America is the one that's controlling the beast. But these various different nations would be in league with one another, as it says in Revelation, the 17th chapter, that they will give their kingdom. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Revelation 17. This is Revelation 17 and 17. It says, for the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Okay, and the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai are being fulfilled here in these last days, man. We don't got too much time left. You know, you got all these signs in the heavens that are taking place. You know, you got Esau talking about this, you know, 3-eyed Atlas comet, which, you know, that's really just a sign in the heaven. All right, and Yahushua warned us and let us know that when ye shall see signs in the heaven and signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the world the distress of nations, then what do we got to do? We got to look up for our kingdom is nigh. Okay, these are signs that the Lord told us to look for. Okay, and you see Esau is moving. He's moving quicker and quicker. These days are going by faster and faster. You know, it says this development, approved by a slim margin, underscores the ongoing tensions across Europe regarding data security, government oversight, and individual freedoms. It says the Swiss electorate voted on the Federal Act of Electronic Identification Services. Let's read that again. The Swiss electorate voted on the Federal Act on Electronic Identification Services, right? With just 50.4% in favor, marking the second national debate on digital digital identities in 4 years. Okay? So this is going to be pushed in America. Okay? The narrow victory highlights societal divides. A kingdom divided against itself can't stand, particularly in royal and conservative areas where concerns about surveillance and potential data misuse run deep. These anxieties mirror broader European apprehensions amplified by increasing digital monitoring. That's why everything is being tracked, traced, and monitored. All right, the new gold, all right, in today's time is data. That's the new gold. You see? That's why they also have cameras everywhere, man, so they can watch you. You know, you're being tracked on your phone. You're being tracked every time that you leave your house. You're on camera. You know, and they want to use the guise of, you know, national security. You know, we have too many illegal immigrants, you know, that are crossing the borders, you know, unknowingly. So with this digital ID, it'll help make the nation more safer. You know, but the scripture says, through peace they shall destroy many. That's how Esau gets down. It says, at the core of Switzerland's approach is a system designed to address Big Brother fears head on. And Big Brother is pretty much NWO. Let's read that again. At the core of Switzerland's approach is a system designed to address Big Brother quote unquote, fears head on. The EID, electronic ID, right, is strictly voluntary. It's voluntary for right now, provided free of charge, just like the Prime Minister in the UK said. It's going to be free of charge, and he said that by the end of that Parliament, it's going to be mandatory that if you do not have the digital ID, that you will not be able to work, aka buy. You're not going to be able to sell. Okay? And issued solely by the state. And once again, they're using the term voluntary to make it seem like, oh, okay, well, it's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. And it's voluntary for right now, but trust and believe that it's going to be made mandatory. That's what the prophecy says. When it goes down to the RFID microchip, that's going to be mandatory. But once again, this is gradualism. As a matter of fact, let's have a little fun with this. Let's do this. Would digital IDs be a gradualism rollout before the mark of the beast, aka the microchip? Let's just see what chat says. So I typed, would digital IDs be a gradualism rollout before the mark of the beast, aka the microchip? It says yes. Based on how scripture and prophecy are often interpreted, digital IDs and similar systems like CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, social credit systems, just as in China you have a social credit score, right? Biometric authentication, which is using your finger. You're using your eye for a retina scan or your finger to log into your banking system, right? You had 86 million bank accounts that were frozen due to banks, or I'd rather say, not card holders, but I'd rather say members of particular banks in Vietnam that had their bank accounts frozen due to the fact that it wasn't set up with their biometrics. 86 million accounts frozen. Right? Biometrics. And biometrics deal with the measure of your body. Right? It says could very well fit the pattern of gradualism before the mark of the beast type system. Here's why. Biblical pattern of gradualism. Revelation 13 shows the word mark or charagma, right, is implemented after a sequence of political, economic, and religious shifts. And this is what you see happening right now. You have the world shifting from what? And from the Industrial Revolution, right? Now we have the fourth Industrial Revolution, which is what? Is mainly with your body, where your biometrics are being tracked. You have an economic shift taking place. Religious shifts taking place. So for all you camps that over here saying that the mark of the beast is Jesus Christ and Christianity, they've used the Bible for what Esau has used the Bible and Jesus Christ, all right, to encapsulate the minds of the people. They done with Jesus. Jesus is done. Okay, and y'all know what I mean when I say that. That's why these various different camps have said that. Now they're trying to change their tune. So once again, Revelation 13 shows that the mark is implemented after a sequence of political, economic, and religious shifts. First, the rise of the beast, then global worship loyalty. Remember, the scripture says that all the earth shall wonder after the image of the beast. Then the mark itself. You see that? All these nations will get in line, and then the mark will come. In prophecy, systems of control often begin subtly and appear beneficial before revealing their true purpose. And did we not just quote that? I quoted this earlier. By peace he shall destroy many in Daniel 8. Now to qualify, that's talking about Antiochus Epiphanes IV, going into the Greek Empire, but this is still going into the same spirit that Esau would be in, man, because those are the Edomites. By peace they will destroy many. Just as we read with Switzerland. Oh yeah, it's going to be, voluntary, just a soft rollout. Digital IDs already tied together identity plus finance, right? Plus access to services, banking, healthcare, travel, voting, so on and so forth. This is what the digital ID is already going to be doing. These RDs are being normalized first as convenience or security measures. See, it's going to be more convenient, so whereas now with security measures, you don't have to worry about losing your ID. You don't got to worry about getting your identity stolen. You don't got to worry about having your social security information be hacked. Your medical records being hacked, your bank account being hacked. It's going to be looked as being more safer. It says, once fully adopted, it's easily to merge them with central bank digital currencies. All right, you had the Genius Act that came out. You have a golden statue of Donald J. Trump with a Bitcoin in his hand. Donald Trump saying that he wants America to pretty much be the epicenter of digital currencies, even though he reneged on the fact that he stated before that he was not with the digital currencies, and now all of a sudden he is. He has all these technocrats in his back pocket with him. Not even in his back pocket, because really Trump is just he's really just a pawn. He's really just what's the word I'm looking for? He's really just a puppet, but I'm looking for another word. He's a character. Let's put it like that. Biometric verification. Using your biometric, whether it be your thumbprint to log in or whether it be a retina scan. That's your biometrics. Wearables. Remember, did not RFK Jr. mention the fact that he wants all Americans to wear wearables to track their health data? Social credit / behavioral scores. See that? If your social credit score is low, you ain't gonna be able to access the internet. You ain't gonna be able to have a social media account and post here and post there. That's gonna be gone. And you clearly see what they doing with this whole Captain Kirk situation. You speak out on Captain Kirk, people losing their jobs. They make a man an offender for a word. You ain't gonna be able to live a life like the regular everyday person. That's why the scripture says that if those who don't worship the image of the beast will be killed. And when you get that root word for the word killed in the Greek, it goes back to being separated. I believe that word is apo, if I'm not mistaken. This infrastructure makes Revelation 13 and 17, no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, technologically feasible. From digital to physical. See, from digital to physical, microchip, biometric implant. Right now, most digital IDs are on phones or smart cards, right? And that's why people, oh yeah, the mark of the beast, man. You already had the mark of the beast. It's in your cell phone. The mark of the beast is your credit card. Yo, you see your credit card got a chip in it? That's the mark of the beast. No, it ain't the mark of the beast. Because you can still have a credit card and not be able to buy or sell. There's plenty of people that have there's plenty of people that don't have phones and that can still buy and sell. So that can't be it. It's already in your hand. It's already in your forehead because you got to think about what you're buying. It's in your mind. No. It says gradually you'll see pushes for implants. You can't lose it. It's safer. It's always with you. You see that? You can't lose your credit card. If it's in you, you can't lose your identity if it's in you. That's what they're going to push. They're going to push to place it inside of you. You see? Check this out. In Sweden and parts of Europe, are we not talking about Sweden right here? In Sweden and parts of Europe, microchip implants are already used for travel passes and payments. It's already happening in Switzerland. The chip is already there in Switzerland. You have people here in Babylon in the States that got the microchip, man. You had a place called I want to say, what was it called, 3 Score Market, whereas you could actually have an implant placed inside of you, whereas you don't gotta use your badge to buzz in or anything of that nature. Are we not talking about Switzerland here with the push of the digital ID? It says this is consistent with conditioning, step by step moving society from external forms, cards and apps, to internal ones, implants. Why it matters spiritually. The mark in Revelation isn't just technology. It's tied to loyalty and worship. You see, it is going to be a physical mark, but that's the key. It's tied to loyalty and worship of the beast. You see, the RFID microchip is an idol. It's a tag that they want to place upon you to show you that, look, you are pretty much, Esau owns you. He has his mark on you. You see? It says, but the infrastructure, IDs, CBDCs, biometric data will make the choice inescapable when it's rolled out. See, you're not going to be able to have the access that everybody else will have, because everything is going to be digital. IDs are going to be required whenever people check your ID. It's going to have to be a digital ID. If you don't got a digital ID, you ain't finna be able to have the access. To be able to buy and sell is going to be a CBDC, central bank digital currency. If you don't have the digital ID, you're not going to be able to transfer the money that you have into a CBDC. You see, your biometric data. You see, they're going to make it inescapable. That's why we're going to have to rely wholly on the faith of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua to sustain us in these last days, man. Because it's going to be used to pull at your flesh. Digital IDs are therefore best understood as the infrastructure or gateway, not the mark itself. And that's what we've been saying, beginning with the apostles on down. It's an infrastructure or gateway. Okay, how to watch for it. Look for mandatory use, no opt-out. That's exactly what the Prime Minister in the UK said. It's mandatory. After the end of Parliament, it's going to be mandatory. Look for integration of finance, right? Plus ID, plus health, plus travel in one system. Wearables. You had now, if you travel into the UK from another country, you have to use your biometric data has to be input into their system, or you can't go. Look for shift from voluntary to enforced. No buy or sell without, right? Look for the biometric / input push as the final step. And that's what we've been saying. Well, that's what, beginning with the apostles on down, been saying. Once we see the mandatory implementation of a physical implant inside of you, that's how you know that we have a little bit of time. Like I'm talking about, that's how you know that this system's about to go down at any given moment. You see? It says, crucially, all personal information stays on the user's smartphone, avoiding any centralized government or commercial database. Physical ID cards will continue to be available and valid, you see, ensuring citizens retain genuine choice in their engagement with digital tools. See, they're pushing it as a choice right now. But here very soon, it's not going to be pushed as a choice. It's going to be mandatory. Okay? This model stands in sharp contrast to initiatives elsewhere in Europe. The EU's European Digital Identity Wallet, UDI. Let me see something. I'm just curious. Okay, I just wanted to see, Esau be using, with the words, what I'm saying? You just never know. European Digital Identity Wallet emphasizes cross-border compatibility, but incorporates a mix of centralized and decentralized data storage, which has sparked worries about data aggregation and user profiling. Meanwhile, in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer's administration is pushing forward with plans that can make holding a digital ID essential for employment. You see that? A policy that has drawn sharp rebukes from civil rights advocates and the public, who fear it could lead to exclusion from jobs and essential services. No man may buy or sell. This is the gradual lead up to it. Swiss campaigners have voiced similar cautions, warning that even voluntary schemes can, over time, become de facto mandatory if access to essential services moves online. They're letting you know, oh yeah, it's not mandatory right now. It's what the word they use? What was the word that they used earlier? It's where we at? What was that word that they used earlier? It's like I'm having a brain fart. What was that word? It's in the article. Damn, Where the hell's that word at? Voluntary, Salaki. It's voluntary right now, but it's going to be mandatory here soon. Salaki for that. I was having a brain for it. It says, let's see. Despite these concerns, proponents in the Swiss parliament and government maintain that their framework provides unparalleled privacy by design, a radical answer to European fears of social credit style systems and institutional overreach. But once again, it's going to be made mandatory. So you have the Prince of Darkness over darkness. You have the Prince of Darkness over here. This guy on the left. You know, digital ID. Where's the GMS Israelites? Where are you at? You see? Because when this thing is made mandatory and the RFID microchip is made mandatory, we're gonna see how you guys will respond. Because hey, the warning has gone out. The Trump has been blown. And this is Elder Apostle Tahar doing a video on this. You know, but this, once again, here's another country that's riding lead. You know? So I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushua, B'Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth, and that's what teaching his truth, and much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, Lord willing, I say shalom.